Hello, 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 and welcome to the Anything But Wrestling podcast, where we talk about anything but wrestling. I'm your host, Rock and Rob Radke, and have another very special guest, as I always do. This time, I'm going to introduce straight from fresh off his wedding, my good friend, fellow goon, Big Dustin Wilson.
Ew!
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 Dust, how the hell are you?
Take two. Take two.
See, I wasn't gonna mention
Nah, I have to.
it.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's beautiful outside. Just got home not too long ago. I was at the gym.
Hell
Uh,
yeah, getting swole,
trying.
clanging and banging.
Exactly. I find it very difficult. I find it. It's
No,
like
it's supposed to be.
exactly. It's not supposed to be easy. That's what everyone tells me.
What I'd like to talk to you about, this podcast, the Anything But Wrestling podcast, while I did not realize it at the time when I got it cooking, is that this is your idea.
Yes, it
This,
is. Yes.
this was originally your podcast like 2 years ago, I want to say. Maybe a year and a half or so.
Yeah, it was like around when the cinematics were cooking.
Mm,
I remember that. And I really wanted to create something because I had like an itch in the back of my brain,
mm-hmm.
because nothing ever satisfies me. I just need like something else to make. And
Right.
I remember I pitched the concept. And I was like, it's just a thing where we just don't talk about wrestling.
Right.
And I posted it online on Twitter, and people went nuts for it. Really liked the idea. And I said, yo, that's dope. I remember I got audiences. I got like some people down for it. The first one I recorded was you.
That's right.
We talked about comedy.
We did.
I want to release that one day because I do think that
You
is
should.
very good. It's a very good conversation.
You should. We'll put that on the Patreon.
But what's funny is like that stemmed Birds on Film,
Right.
the review series, because Erica, friend of the show, she yeah
acquaintance of the show.
She I asked her what she wanted to talk about, and she said Moonstruck, and being like the big film nerd and like film critique fan.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, it'd be interesting to do like a film review series with someone completely different. And then when like the Moonstruck review came out, I was just like, oh, I just want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I never really touched the concept of like anything but wrestling in like a podcast. And then you mentioned it.
Yeah. So I didn't even remember that you came up with it or that we recorded that podcast, and I was like, God, I can't believe no one's thought of this. Where like, because I just, we talk about it, how we're on podcasts, and we gotta answer, how we got our start in wrestling, and just like, man, why are we just not avoiding that at all costs? Why is there not a podcast to do such a thing? Oh, right, Big Dust did it, but never released any of the footage.
Yes. Well, like I think you're a much better conversationalist than
I don't know about that.
I think you're very good at this. I mean, most of the times when me and you chat on like roads, it'll either be about wrestling or things far from wrestling, like nowhere
Right.
in the realm of
Not
things.
even close.
And those are the best conversations to me.
I think so. Like, I think it's been so far like a good way to like get to know people, as because I don't care what your finish is. I don't like it doesn't really get me to know you as a person, but you and I have, been on the road and just chit chatting about nonsense. And that's again, like you said, those are the best conversations. So yeah, just get to know everybody like that.
I mean nothing like this is not bashing any other podcaster out there that like does the traditional format, but I feel as a person who's done some podcasts at times as a performer, it's so exhausting to
Hmm.
like, oh, okay, I'm going to talk for like an hour and a half with this person about the same like 8 questions I get asked every time. You know, I
Hmm.
feel like most people are thriving to talk about anything but wrestling.
Chomping at the bit.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, no, I understand the need for those questions and stuff for those podcasters, but just from our end of it, it's like, it's we have the same interview every time, and I don't want to have the same interview every time, or really have any interview. Really, more of a conversation. Those are the podcasts I like. Not, I mean, I know that's like a cliche thing to say, but I don't know. That is what it is.
Well, like I feel like the podcast realm. Well, at first, when I first entered it, I always thought it was like a conversation like type thing,
Hmm.
podcasting, and then you've introduced me to so many other different variations of the format.
That's right. Me and Eel bullying you into listening to podcasts.
Yes, the teachers lounge. And
The Teachers Lounge. Class
uh
is out.
oh, what's the
Big,
troop's name?
big grande.
Big Grande. Absolutely fantastic series.
Listeners, if you haven't, I will. This will not be the last time I implore you to go listen to the Teachers Lounge podcast. It is a comedy podcast. It is an improv podcast. It's my absolute favorite podcast. I just think it's fantastic.
Hey, I don't like improv. I usually don't.
Yeah, same.
But the way that they do it and other like good people. Oh, it's the UPS guy. I'm just gonna let him
Oh,
run away. He's dropping off some more wedding gifts that people are sending me.
nice.
I got a pasta maker, and that not going back.
Hell
Not going
yeah.
back. Weber, you're not getting your pasta maker back.
Weber, future guest of the podcast.
But like improv to me, it just screams. I think I'm very funny,
Hmm.
and I tend to avoid that,
Right.
even though I do think I'm very funny sometimes. That's like that's a toxic trait of mine. But like I don't want to put that in front of people. Like I feel like improv is the ultimate, hey, look at me, I am so good.
Right. That's fair. I think comedy in general is just kind of like a very it's weird because comedy is a skill that is like not only a very hard skill to master, but it's also a skill that's like expected in social situations. You know what I mean? So for it to just be kind of this mundane thing, you hang around with your friends and you laugh and stuff like that. For a comedian to just be like, "Hey, look at me. I'm very good at this thing that you all do." It's a pretty vulnerable spot to kind of put yourself in.
What's like some of the greatest comedians of all time, or at least the ones that I can name, have been very like quiet and soft
Mhm,
spoken in
mhm,
person. And like I don't know, I've always wanted to try stand up because
mhm,
everyone says I should do stand up, you
mhm.
know?
Right.
Yeah.
Is
So,
everyone just you?
well, no, but well, it's kind of what we talked about when me and you had that discussion long ago. It's like comedy, stand up. Like I could never. I don't
Mhm,
think I could ever do that. That's putting myself in too vulnerable of a position to where
mhm.
I have to be on my feet consistently.
Right. Mike Birbiglia has a bit in one of his like I like the way he does stand up in which he has his stand up specials, but he also does some that are kind of like a one man show. as opposed to just a stand up. But one of the stories he kind of tells or anecdotes is just kind of his process with comedy. And it's like if you go to a movie, you could not like the directing, you could not like, the editing. There's so many things that could fall apart to make you not like a movie. But if you don't like a comedian, it's like, oh, you just don't like me. And that's like what it's very fascinating to me. It's just like, yeah, it's just haha funny man, but like there's a very like deep kind of insecurity about it.
One of my personal favorite comedians tackles that in a couple of his specials. Bo Burnham talks about that insecurity
Mhm,
that you basically have to have if you want to be a performer. And
mhm,
I find that fascinating, because I don't know. I feel like all performers, no matter what profession, are just like like the grasping for attention. And
mhm.
if someone doesn't like your art, you are personally hurt by that.
Right. Yeah, no, that's for sure. I mean, that comes with wrestling as well, but yeah,
I'll tell you what it doesn't come with. Whoopee.
whoopee. That now
Whoopee.
that so Dust and I and Miles and Killian went this past weekend to the Kent County Theater Guild near where we live, and we did Whoopi. Now Whoopi is you tell them what Whoopi is.
So Whoopee is it is a semi improvisational theater show where you have script writers and you have performers, and they're all mixed in a bag. The script writers write a script. When the script is chosen, they pull randomly out of a bag a performer for each character in the script. Now, the person only has 2 minutes to explain to the whole cast what the script is, what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Go. Like you have only 2 minutes of direction, and then you go, and thankfully, like the performers get to keep the script, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
But like it's just so it's so fun, like
Mm-hmm.
that. Like I feel like to overanalyze it, I really feel like it keeps you on your toes as
Mm-hmm.
a performer, because usually with theater, you're so used to your lines are down to a T.
Right.
Like you have everything down. But in this, it's like, oh, you are flying by the seat of your pants.
Yep. You just turn the page, not knowing what you're gonna say next, and it was a blast. It was a real blast. I didn't volunteer to perform. I was volunteered.
Yes,
Uh,
you're put in.
but yeah, it was fun. It was the debut of Wine Rob.
Oh my gosh, you had
They
so
gave
much
me so
wine that
much
night.
wine for $5. They filled the glass. I
The old woman behind the counter goes to the woman, is like, "Is this how much you put in here?" Yes, it is.
well,
Yes, it
no.
is.
So it was a younger woman who's like, "I'm not sure if this is how much you pour," and then the old woman was like, "Oh, more than that." But I was already like, "Oh, I think that's like maybe too much." But John Tafford be pissed.
Oh, you'd be
He wouldn't
freaking
have it.
furious.
That's thousands of dollars out the door every month.
He'd be stomping all over the stage.
Screaming at
Whoopee!
this old woman.
What's a whoopee?
Oh God, John Taffer still got me blocked, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
He never did block me.
Wow, you're
I,
the
I
chosen one.
I guess so. I guess he just loves me for some reason.
So, who are some of your other like favorite comedians?
Um, God, it is. I don't really gravitate towards stand up, honestly.
Hmm.
Like comedians in general, like ones who are more not as stand up oriented. Like I think Martin Short and Steve Martin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those two are always on the top of my mind. I haven't seen too much of their stand up, but I heard Steve Martin's like really talented.
Mm-hmm.
I think I
Have
think
you
for
seen
hmm?
Have you seen their new show,
I have not yet. No, I
Only
haven't.
Murders in the Building?
What's Selena Gomez, right?
Yes.
I have not yet.
Give it a
I'm
watch.
dying to see it. I don't have Hulu. I lost
Oh,
my
gotcha.
subscription. But
Right.
honestly, it seems like a show that I'd take like the hit for a month just to
Just to
binge
watch.
through.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But I love Steve Martin. There's I mean so many performances of his. I mean Planes, Trains and Automobiles was shown to me as a young man,
Mm-hmm.
and the combination of like the of John Candy's performance as well as Steve Martin, like they just work so well together. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that as well as a couple of other films really formulated what I find funny, that like real situational
Mm-hmm.
type. I think with like comedic people that we still see today and like their impact, I think Conan O'Brien is, people don't even realize it, but he's probably one of the most impactful people in comedy. I
I
mean,
get that.
like the stuff he's done to like the format of late night as well as just shaping the minds of people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just always fascinates me, the stuff that he would allow on his show and the skits that he do. Right.
Right. Like I remember he had a Triumph, right?
Yes,
Triumph the
yes.
Insult Comic Dog.
Very, very good. And then I think Triumph like hopped between like other late night folks,
Yeah.
but like Conan just, him and Andy, like I just love tall skinny fella and short little fat fella. That always makes me giggle.
It's a good combo.
My favorite comedian's probably like my favorite like traditional comic
Mhm.
is definitely Bo Burnham. I know me and you have slight differences on
Mhm.
inside. Uh,
I wouldn't even say differences.
mhm.
I so the difference is you love it a lot.
Yes, yes,
I think it's fine. Like
yeah.
I can vibe to it, but yeah.
Well, you know, when the dial is at 7 as opposed to 10, that is a slight difference, right? That is that is something.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think what I can't say that he's going to be as impactful as like all the other people I've listed because
Right.
it's
It's
been
it's
so,
it's hard to say.
exactly, it's been so early, but I mean just what Inside said, it really it really spoke to me.
Hmm. I gotcha. I gotcha. Um. So I was thinking, you had mentioned that stand up doesn't really have that much of an impact on you. I feel like it's kind of fallen off for everybody. Stand up as a media source in and of itself, because when I was like growing up, there was like CDs, and even like younger me, like there was
Mhm.
cassettes. I think my first interaction with stand up, or yeah, or even knowing what comedy really was my next door neighbor had a cassette tape of one of Eddie Murphy's specials.
Mm.
But like stand-ups aren't really making albums anymore.
Well, you know what they're making? They're making TikToks and they're
They're making
making like,
TikToks and Netflix specials.
yeah, and like YouTube, I like not even like the specials to me. It's that shorter format where it's
Mhm.
literally just the joke and the punchline.
Right.
I I don't know if it's exactly the death of stand-up comedy because I
Mhm.
mean the names are still selling out and like I'm sure the Laugh Factory's still doing decent, but in the public
Right.
conscious, I think it's it's like faded away because a lot of the new generation that's absorbing media
Mhm.
has no need to go out
Right.
and see that when they can just see like the small little bit and the joke at the end, or
Yeah.
tune in and watch a stand-up special, which I mean it works, but I I definitely, I mean, I've never gone to a stand-up show. I've always wanted to.
You should. I think the last one I saw was Nick Kroll. It was like right before the pandemic.
That was probably wonderful. That
Oh, it was
that dude is
fantastic.
hysterical.
Love Nick Kroll so much.
Got a lot of time.
Forgot what I was gonna say, but I do miss Kroll show. Um, a very fantastic comedy show. Uh, kind of uh, kind of from a bygone era.
The Comedy Central give
Yeah,
uh give comedian sketch shows.
yeah. I don't even know what's on Comedy Central these days.
I've got no clue. What comedians got a show? Are Keen Peele still
No,
doing
that's
it?
not still a thing.
No. They're
Yeah,
two
because Jordan
completely
Peele
different
is.
separate paths.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I guess Netflix is the new Comedy Central.
I mean, they like Comedy Central for a while. I remember Nick Schwartzen
Mm-hmm.
had his own sketch show, and
Yep.
like Amy Schumer, of course, Tosh Point oh. It felt like any comedian that was picking up buzz, give
Give
them a
them a
sketch
show.
show.
Quick, give them a show.
Yeah. Oh, Jeff Dunham. Jeff Dunham had a show. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I never saw the show. I remember that he had a show.
Jeff Dunham had a goddamn stranglehold on my
Or
youth, Rob.
did he?
I
That's
tell
some,
you, it sucked. It sucked.
that makes so much sense to me.
He had a
God,
stranglehold
I
on
just
every kid. No adults. No adults.
yeah,
Find like a 30 something that was like around at that time that watched Jeff Dunham and said, that's hysterical. You can't.
yeah, it wasn't me, that's for sure. As a 30 something who was around for it.
Oh, God, it was crazy.
I just never got it.
The
I was like,
puppets, they
the
were
jokes
talking
aren't that
bad.
funny. I said the
No, they're
jokes
not.
aren't that funny, and the ventriloquism is also not that good. I was like, how did this work?
Is it because it was like really offensive? Right?
Probably.
Super offensive,
Yeah.
super
Edgy.
playing towards that crowd.
Yeah.
Like
That probably checks out. Do you think comedy will die because of cancel culture?
finally. Finally I can
Now we're
ask this
getting down to brass tacks.
No. If to genuinely answer the question, absolutely not. I don't think cancel culture is like a thing, especially when it comes to comedy.
Yeah, no, it's
You've
like
never been able to tell certain jokes like that, and nor should you, right?
correct. I say that like I watch on a loop pretty much. I think you should leave on Netflix. Whenever I don't know what to watch, but just need something on TV or whatever, I always put it on, and I still laugh. I still laugh. I've seen it a million times. I still laugh. In 2 seasons of that show, not a single bigoted joke, never punches down. Hysterical, the funniest shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
And I think no one is saying on the side of cancel culture, no one's saying that we can't be challenged, right?
Right.
No one's saying that we can't challenge the medium.
Hmm.
There's so many things that came out recently that are highly regarded that do that. I mean, Get Out, right? A hysterical film. There's no way that film could be made. Like, I don't know. And it's entertaining and it's funny. And like I just you just gotta be good. You
Yeah.
can't be lazy. a bunch of people that are making these jokes are just lazy. That's
Just
it.
that's it. And it's like I went to Nashville a couple weeks ago, and I went to the roast of Ric Flair, and
I've
I had
seen
already
some clips.
had I had some low expectations because I had listened to the Bruce Pritchard one they had done several years prior, and it was not good.
If I can ask, are you a fan of like when Comedy Central used to do the roast?
Yes,
I am too.
I
I am
yeah,
too.
I think they're very funny. I wish they would bring them back, but cancel culture. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's a couple comedians who a couple decent bits, but overall it's just nothing but like the same joke over and over, and it's like an offensive joke, and it's just like it's not even funny. I don't even care that it's like not quote unquote politically correct. I don't care. If it's funny, then I'll laugh at it.
Yeah.
But none of this shit is funny.
The roast that would happen on Comedy Central, I think I haven't seen all of the Ric Flair roasts. I've
Mhm,
seen a fair amount of clips, and a lot of
mhm.
it's pretty freaking rough.
It's rough stuff.
I just think it's the writers they got, right?
Yeah,
I feel like the writers that they have come from the school of like, oh, we can't say anything anymore.
right.
As opposed to back in that day, like the roasts, which in fairness, like it was a different time for comedy in a
Mhm.
couple of ways you can think about, but like they're just thinking like, oh, what'd be the most funny thing to say about
Right.
this person?
Just to get a reaction,
Yeah. There's a
not even
difference between the two.
crafting a joke,
Yes.
just kind of shock value.
And
Um,
shock value not in the way of like, oh, what we're saying is true and it's
right,
bad.
right.
Like
Yeah,
so much of the roast just felt like that to me. And that's
yeah.
not comedy, that's just being
No,
mean.
yeah. There's a line, and you got to find it. And I think if you can't find it, maybe you just need a new profession. Um, I remember so years ago I watched on HBO there was a special called Talking Funny, and it's Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld, someone else,
Is
and
Louis C.K. on that?
unfortunately Louis C.K. is on it. Um, but I remember so Seinfeld tells this story about how when he first started out, he used to say because Seinfeld's a notoriously like clean, doesn't work blue comedian, and he said, I used to when I started out, I had one fuck. I said fuck one time in my act, and it always got a laugh. Then one day I did the bit, but I just took the word fuck out, and no one laughed. So I decided that at that point I just didn't want to say fuck anymore because it seemed like a crutch. And I think that's what I think of when I think like, oh, you can't be funny anymore. It's like, no, you just have to kind of adapt with the times.
Jerry Seinfeld, wrong about a fair
A
amount.
lot, yes, yes. I mean, ironically, I mean Seinfeld is one of the people who's like, oh, you can't,
Yeah.
which is weird because he wouldn't offend anyone. It's
Like
just
what
that,
in his act would actually offend someone?
yeah, I don't know. I
I'm not
think maybe
sure.
he's just not funny to college kids anymore.
I won't lie. This will be no surprise. I was a huge Louis C.K. fan. I
Yeah, I
loved
was
I
too.
loved Louis. Loved Louis. That show's
The
still
FX show.
really good. Yeah.
I
Oh my
always
god.
there's a quote from that show I like to use a lot, and I don't use it as much anymore, but just because it always makes me think about who I'm attributing. But it's the only time you should look into your neighbor's bowl is to make sure that they have enough. And like it's a good quote. It's a good like
Oh,
about like comparing yourself to what other people have and blah blah blah. They have more than me and shit like that. Like no, it's not the perspective you should have.
yeah,
A,
but now it's like,
a great
whoa.
quote from a horrible human being.
Yeah. And then, like, God, I remember there's just there's so many absolutely screwed up people
Mhm.
in that world that it's like, I don't know. I think it's about time we just sweep it out. That's
Yeah.
kind of my thought. Make the way for a new generation of talent.
Yeah. But here's the problem, and this is kind of every form of entertainment. As long as they draw, they're gonna get, they're. Well, I mean, Louis C.K. I guess. I mean, he still draws, but he just draws a different audience now.
But like, I guarantee that it's not the audience he wants, right?
No, no,
In
but
what
like
world? But
it's.
that's
He's like, I guess I got to be alt right now because that's
it's fucking wild.
it's because fuck cancel culture. God forbid I get held responsible or held accountable for my actions.
Let's switch to something else.
No, I want to
Because
talk more about Louis
oh
C.K.
oh
No, I'm just
god,
kidding.
screaming about cancel culture. Oh, I feel like we're gonna start getting into the stuff that's gonna get me fired.
Fired from what?
Oh, I guess so. No, actually, no more. I don't work for them anymore. I'm fine. I can say whatever I want. But um, I just think it's so it's not difficult to look at the situation where a format and an art form is changing
Hmm.
and to say, okay, let me adapt,
Hmm.
or this isn't for me anymore.
Hmm.
I don't know.
That's every form of entertainment, including the one we work in. What the art form is now is not what it was 20 years ago. And you can, do what you can to make it your own and anchor it to that, kind of mindset from yesteryear, but you still have to evolve.
Evolve or die. Evolve or die.
Adapt or perish,
Yeah.
from a cool Triple H t-shirt. So we were talking before the audio got cut out. Like we said, this is take 2. We're talking about the rehearsal. You're caught up on the rehearsal.
I am. Season finales tonight. I think they announced a season 2. I'm
Did
pretty
they?
sure. Yeah, I think they
Huh.
talked about it, which I it is to kind of condense the thoughts that we were all talking about. Like, it is fascinating to see like real people put in situations that are like these fantasy acts,
Hmm.
right? It's absurd. I can't even describe the premise because the actual premise of the show and the plot changes like halfway through the season.
Immediately, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, so we were trying to pitch Killian on watching the rehearsal last week, and what was so that's what you said to him. You're just like, I can't even describe to you what the plot of the show is. You just have to watch it. But I guess in all that conversation, he started watching Nathan for You. And I think Monday I got a text from him that was just like, bro, Nathan for You is wild. He says I keep saying what like every 5 minutes.
I was talking with Eel about like the show in general, and he had a quote where he was like, "At times, I stop laughing, like I find myself not laughing at the show at all, and I'm just fascinated.
Hmm.
I'm watching it like a documentary."
Drawn in. I mean, it does kind of have that presence of a documentary. Have you seen? So you watch Nathan for You.
Yes,
You know the detective that he's
yes.
interacts with every once in a while. They Discovery, I think, gave the detective a spin-off show. I don't know. It's not a spin-off really, but they gave him a reality
Really?
show as a detective. It's called Cry Wolf.
Oh my god.
here's the thing about it, because Danielle's been watching it.
Uh-huh.
It's not even. It's so bonkers. It's reenactments of things that have happened to him, quote unquote, but they film it as if it's a documentary type show, but it's all just
Like
actors.
stories from him.
Yes,
Whoa.
but it's just actors playing these roles, but they film it and present it as if this is real time, which makes
That's
it
dope.
no, it's not, because
No?
the actors are bad.
Oh no.
It's and it's also, I'm pretty sure the stories that he's saying happened, he's lying. It's an
So
absolute insane thing to watch, and it got 3 seasons.
I this is the first time I'm hearing about this. What? So is there no irony in it?
I don't think there is.
Because that was my thought process immediately. Like the idea of Tim and Eric did that with like somebody that they've used like a lot. They gave him his own show,
Mhm.
and like they literally let this dude do whatever he wanted. I'm forgetting the name of it, but the whole bit about it was like there's this layer of irony of this
Mhm.
guy who got a show and all this power that should not have gotten that.
Right. I don't think that's what this is. It's like trying to present it to you as a genuine, like, true crime type.
So it's so wild to me. If you know where he's from, in what world would you want that?
Right. So what you're thinking of is like maybe if Nathan Fielder had produced this guy's
Yes,
show, but that's not what this is. I guess someone from Discovery saw this guy on Nathan for You.
he's
He's like,
fascinating.
we gotta get this guy his own show.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
And all
I
the
guess we'll
acting
be
is
seeing
bad.
more of that type of content with Discovery coming in,
Yeah.
ruining media as we know it.
Apparently. I haven't really I don't follow it all too closely. I just see tweets of mad people.
Mad comic book fans.
Yeah.
Me want the Scoob movie.
Maybe they'll make a Scoob movie, I'm sure.
We'll be
It's been a hot property for like 50 years. I think we're good.
Scooby Doo's gonna be fine. It'll live.
Yeah,
It'll
honestly.
find a way. I do sympathize somewhat with like the people that actually make it, right?
Right.
Less so like the performers and more like the writers and
Right.
the
The people
produce.
who would get paid
Yes,
for,
exactly.
yeah.
That sucks.
God
Because
bless
like
America.
I love this country and I hate cancel culture.
You know, that reminds me.
Mm.
You were on a podcast recently. What was the name of that podcast?
There were a
You were
couple of
talking,
them.
you were talking about birds. You and Erica were on.
Oh yes, I do remember this. Yes.
Is it Grit and Glitter?
Yes, Grit and Glitter. Yes.
I just want to make sure I properly shout them out.
Yes, love
And
that.
you were asked a question at the end of this podcast. That's right. This is gotcha journalism.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
You were
I'm ready.
asked which goon should never have the aux cord.
Hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, look, it was a bit. I knew you were listening. I knew you'd listen, and I knew it'd be funny. It didn't get to you.
Mm-hmm.
In actuality,
Bird ratted on you.
No, I said it on air.
Yeah, but she told me before it aired.
Of course she did. She said, "Can you believe what Dust said?"
Yeah, you're off your rocker.
In all actuality, it's me that should never get the aux, because I'm just gonna play like horrible show tunes and like other songs that I've heard my friends play.
An Accidental Racist by Brad Paisley and LL Cool J.
Oh my god, we have a platform to talk about this, Rob.
A deep dive into the song "Accidental Racist" by
We
Brad
do,
Paisley and
Rob.
LL Cool J. Folks, what I want you to do right now is pause this episode of Anything But Wrestling. Go to Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you listen to, YouTube, if for the three of you have subscribed. Find Accidental Racist by Brad Paisley and LL Cool J. Listen to that song and listen good and listen hard at the message that it's conveying, because Dustin Wilson, Big Dust, this is a song that when he had the aux played for me, and it's the most bonkers thing I think I've ever heard. And I like Brad Paisley. I like
Yeah.
Brad Paisley a lot.
We've talked about our shared love of like that era of country music. There's a lot of good stuff.
Little Moments. I mean, come
Oh,
on.
well, there.
Whiskey
If I could
Lullaby.
say, country music gets a bad rep.
Oh yeah, for
It
sure.
it is undisputably like hated by
Mhm.
so many people. I think it's a beautiful genre.
I think a lot of people associate country with its clientele,
Yes,
and that might, sour them on it as
which is
opposed to.
fair.
Yeah, I get it, but I mean, the music slaps.
It's that
Uh,
it's that combination of like blues and rock,
that
right? And it
fucking
just
twang will
hits.
get you.
Oh yeah. But I I don't know how I stumbled upon Accidental Racist. I have no clue why it came into my life. But I remember I played it because before I played that one guy song, the lead singer of Stained,
Oh, am
his
I the
little
only one?
yes, his little anthem. Which don't listen to that. Don't give that guy
No, it's
any
not
money.
even worth listening to. Look, so a lot of I made a Goon Vibes playlist, and it's honestly a lot of alt right propaganda, which is all to be listened to ironically.
Yes,
But am I the only one? Isn't even like that fun to listen to, right?
he's just
Like,
bitching. He's
yeah,
he's just crying.
yeah, and falsely too. Like, am I the
Yeah.
only one? No, you're not. You're literally speaking to your base right now. You're gonna be all right. I'm sorry that you joined the fucking war. Then I don't.
A guy who did not join the war because he wasn't able to
Yeah,
moves to the south to sing to his people. But Brad Paisley, as we said, is like a good artist.
seemingly a very sweet man. But then Accidental Racist comes out, and it's victim blaming.
It's a wild listen. I remember.
Play
So
the
this is
fucking
my
song.
viewpoint. This is you. You turn to me and go.
I think we also did that to Bird when we made her listen on the way to SW. Just watch. I'm sitting in the backseat just watching her reaction to every fucking line I know is coming up. That's bonkers.
It's mostly when LL Cool J comes in.
LL Cool J is the most problematic in this song. Brad Paisley, I think, probably regrets this song. Maybe had good intentions and it didn't come out the way he thought. LL Cool J, however, is doubling down in interviews, saying if you don't get it, then you're the problem.
I don't have a problem with it anymore. I'm over it. You got to figure it out.
Yeah. So to just kind of give you a glimpse into what this song kind of entails, here's my favorite line from LL Cool J, where he says, if you don't judge my gold chains, I'll forgive the iron chains. LL Cool J says this on a song. It's public record. They They pressed it. They put it out.
It played on radio.
It played on the radio.
It had
And
radio
now
play.
LL Cool J in interviews says things like, "I would never try to trivialize slavery." That's literally what you did.
If you don't judge my red flag.
Oh yeah, if you don't judge my do-rag, I won't judge your red flag.
As
Not
if,
the same, LL. Not the same.
as if a symbol of hatred and bigotry has any relation to a accessory.
A do-rag.
Oh my god!
They're
It's
this
a,
in LL Cool J's eyes, they are the same thing.
if you, like I one the purpose of the song, right? You always got to question the purpose of art.
Yeah,
Like,
what were
who's
you
this
trying to
for?
accomplish with this?
Yes. Because, like, it doesn't really sound like anything. It just sounds like any other song. It doesn't really say anything.
I think the moment Brad Paisley caught himself just singing, "I'm just a white man," he should have that should have been a red flag right there. Like, oh, maybe
Shouldn't
I
have.
should not be belting out that I'm a white man.
It's definitely not on his playlist anymore. I don't think. I don't think that's he's singing that at
It's
concerts.
still on mine. You think people request it?
We should.
Like
If we ever if we ever
Paisley's
go
on
to
stage and people are just screaming, "Play Accidental Racist."
he leaves. He, just, he doesn't know how to confront his past. So he just leaves. That's what I do.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunate. Unfortunate for Brad Paisley. Seemingly a sweet man. I would expect it from Toby Keith.
Oh, but Toby Keith just keeps putting out bangers.
It's true. It's true. Old Me Better? I mean, come on.
A song about I will not turn into a good person. I will keep being me.
I like when I was a piece of shit better.
I will regress.
I used to be a piece of shit, and I'd like to go back to doing that.
God. What type of Arby's did you get, Rob? What'd you
Oh,
get?
I got a chicken, bacon, and Swiss with curly
Mm.
fries and jalapeno bites.
That's your go-to, right?
Pretty much. Or beef and cheddar in place of this chicken, bacon, Swiss. But I feel like the older I'm getting, like, or maybe even the more health conscious I am, the beef and cheddar is just very like aggressive
Yeah.
flavor wise. Yeah, so I think chicken bacon Swiss is a good solid like middle of the road chicken
I
sandwich.
feel like Arby's is the only place that I know about that has like a sandwich that isn't a lot, like an understated
Mm,
sandwich, like their turkey club and stuff like that. Like
mhm.
you're when you eat it, you don't feel like you're digesting a whole
Right,
cow. You just feel like,
right.
oh, this is actually coming down
Nice
pretty nice.
nice little lunch.
Did Bird on the last show talk about my hatred for spicy snacks?
No.
Because I would like to have a platform for
Okay,
my
talk about your hatred for spicy snacks.
look. Okay, here's my thought process. Okay, I don't understand where if I am partaking in something that's tiny and
Mhm.
like little hand food, I don't get why I would want it to be not pleasing to my mouth.
Right.
If it's a meal, that's different. If
Mhm.
I'm having like something that has elements of spice in it, I'm fine with that. I love
Mhm.
spicy food. Spicy snacks, I'd rather have something plain Jane, not challenging.
Um, I don't know that I don't really care for spicy snacks. It's just not my cup of tea. I guess I've never really thought about why or given it a whole thought process. But I mean, I that does check out. Like, you want something substantial that's going to fill you up if you're going to, deal with some spice.
I don't want I don't understand how people like spicy Takis and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And even like the mild stuff, I just it's not appealing to me.
Right.
The
Yeah, no, I get
spiciest
that.
I'll go with snack food is like barbecue. And then I'm vibing. I'm fine with that.
That's not even really spicy, though.
Exactly. It's just a little tang. Nothing too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. No, I gotcha. I could deal with spicy food. Like, I'm a big, fan of the buffalo chicken sandwich from Arby's. But yeah, never got into Takis. Like, they're fine. Flaming hot Cheetos, I don't think I've ever had. It just doesn't seem appealing to me.
As I've grown older, I've found that my teeth and my tolerance for like very crunchy snacks as well,
Hmm.
it's not how it used to be.
Hmm.
I
Let
feel
me
like
ask you this.
mm,
Are you a bagel guy or an English muffin guy?
bagel, big bagel guy.
It's fair. I
English
like
muffin is good, but
I like every once in a while as a treat, you get a nice English muffin with some butter and some strawberry jam or jelly or whatever. As a treat, delightful. I couldn't do it every day. An everything bagel with cream cheese, however, I could eat literally every day.
you put some thinly sliced salmon on it. You put some capers, drizzle some olive oil on it. Oh my
See,
gosh,
I'll let
bagels!
you do that.
Yeah.
I just want the cream cheese.
Oh, dude, I love a big dumb fancy bagel so much.
I will also so I have like a fairly like a fancy like bagel place across the street from my house. But I also have a Wawa around the corner. I'm gonna be honest, Wawa's better.
Oh yeah, right? Like they probably put like so much sugar in that dough. You got to think there's got to be something extra that they put in there. It
Love.
can't beat it. Care.
um, I will say, as far as English muffins go, the McMuffin is my favorite uh, bread from McDonald's. Like, I'll take a McMuffin over a McGriddles any day of the week.
Oh my god, I McGriddle is it's a good concept,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just conceptually eating
Mm-hmm.
a pancake with maple syrup inside of it
Mm-hmm.
on like a bacon, egg, and cheese, like that by itself, like that's okay. But to me, it's the same with the English muffin that they have there. Whenever I get breakfast from there, it just feels like so tough.
Hmm.
It just doesn't feel like actual bread to me, and that's
See, I've
always been
never
my
had that
issue.
experience.
Really,
Yeah, maybe you got to try this McDonald's around the corner here.
I might. I always
I
hit that
just,
one while I was going home, but
mm, I
it's
just
been a
so
bit.
for a McGriddle, it's just a little too sweet for me, and also like greasy. I mean, it's McDonald's. It's gonna be greasy to a certain extent, but seems like substantially more grease than a McMuffin. Not to mention, like, sausage, egg, and cheese McMuffin. You get the real egg on the
Mm,
McMuffin. Yeah,
yes,
I might
yes.
do that tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that sounds very good right now. I'm very hungry. I'm trying not to eat out. It's so hard.
Oh, it's the worst eating out or trying not to because,
Trying
like,
not to.
especially, like, you see where I live. Like, Arby's is literally like a 2 minute drive for me.
And she's always tempted you, isn't she?
Always, especially
Calling you.
they get a new menu item. I'm like, shit, I gotta go try it out.
I'm happy that Arby's is getting a better reputation.
It's having a renaissance, I guess you would
Yes.
call it. It's The public seems to be swinging the other way in the on the pendulum for Arby's.
I still hate brand Twitter so much.
Yeah.
I hate people like, oh no, I just hate that hello fellow kids type
Yeah.
brand Twitter that they do. Ugh. But you know, they make good food and I'm happy they are getting acknowledged.
God bless Arby's. Arby's, this is like I think the fourth episode in the row that we've mentioned you. If you would like to send me the meat sweats, the sweatsuits that you've been sending people, I will happily accept. I'll wrestle in it. I promise. I'll fucking do it, Arby's.
You've been
Please.
day one with them.
Absolutely.
You
It's
deserve
always
that.
been. I remember when I was a kid, they had Shake of the Month, and that was like my favorite thing. Just like, oh, what's the shake this month? I wish Arby's bring that shit back and then send me the fucking meat sweats.
I'd get the meat sweats if I was eating some because woof. I'm starting to get some right now thinking about it. God.
Let's get Arby's on the way tomorrow.
Oh, let's do that. Oh,
Matter of fact, let's just meet at Arby's. Have a nice little meal together inside,
that'd be wholesome.
and then head to the show.
We never sit down anymore, do we?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We never do. We did at the theater.
We did sit down at the theater when I was 5 glasses of wine deep.
And I was about like, oh my God. Miles bought me like 3 Jack and Cokes, and those were Jack and Cokes. Like
Miles was on one that night.
I think all of you were.
No, but Miles was the best.
Well, that's because Miles. Well, one he apparently he didn't follow the script.
Well, he ad-libbed a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Which that's very funny to think about.
Yeah.
He was also given the best roles for him.
Yeah. It was literally this is written for Miles.
And he just went with it.
Crushed it. I was so mad at him.
Oh, dude, I was furious.
I said, I hate you. You're too good.
I said, how are you good at this too?
When I have Miles on, I'm gonna have Miles on and just constantly berate him for being better than me at everything.
The theater is like a completely different beast, but it does make sense that like you, Miles, and Killian were able to pick it up, or at least understand, right?
Right.
Mostly because you're having a good time, and I think in the end that's what you want from entertainment.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I also took like drama in high school and stuff, so it's not like super new to me. You did a lot of like theater stuff, right?
Yes, yeah. I before getting into wrestling and a little bit while I was first starting out, I was an avid, like I was doing a show every single other month. Just about. I was pretty on it. And you know, it's a very different art form. You prepare, and then it feels different from anything I've ever done because it's like you do all this work to lead up to 3 days essentially. Sometimes more, like 6 or 9, but you do all this work, like months of time that you're putting towards these people and your script and all these things, and then you just get to poof it out there. You just get to go.
Right.
And that's such a different feeling. And I mean, I still don't get it with like, not to bring it up, but I barely get it sometimes with wrestling. It's just a completely different feeling. It's like it feels so good after the whole thing is done, but then you get the sense of dread where it's like, oh, this has kind of been what I've been doing for so long, and now I'm done.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that. And there is like just to touch on it a little bit, it's with wrestling, it's like you know, you have a match that you're looking forward to. Like you get booked on and you're like, oh hell yeah, I'm looking forward to working this person. And you know, you're promoting it for like a month, 2 months, and then it's over in 8 minutes.
Yeah,
That's the and then you have to wonder, was it good? Is it like did it live up to what I hoped it would be? That same kind of thing.
that's a good equivalent. Like, yeah, that's a good like comparison. But like to me, theater is even crazier because like you're actively participating in the thing. It'd be
Right.
like if you are going to a ring with the person you are having a match with and
Hmm.
plotting out every single detail.
Right.
And then once it's all done, it's like, oh, okay, I guess this is not in my life anymore.
Yep.
And
Nah, I got you.
as a performer, it's a crazy feeling. As a director, the few shows I've done, it's even crazier because it's like, oh, this is kind of my baby, as opposed to this part.
Right.
Like I tell these people what I want from my vision over and over and over and over again. And
Hmm.
then they go out there and they do it. And I mean, I feel like every show I've done has been pretty fun. I've been happy with all of them. But like afterwards it's like, oh, let me go out in the parking lot and have a cry because it's all done.
No, that's I guess I never really thought about that with theater. But yeah, that makes sense.
Most of my work in theater has been with kids. Um, a lot of especially my directing, all young actors and guilds. Like I think the age range for the last show I directed was like 17 to, I think the youngest that we had was like 7.
Mm.
And it was just it's very rewarding to work with those with like kids because you I think from my experience when I was doing theater as a kid, I had this adult that was very punishing towards me
Hmm.
and very like restrictive. And it's like in my head I've always been like I'm a like you're a kid. Why would I want to hold you back when this whole thing that you're doing, one, you're doing voluntarily, and two, you're just wanting to have a good time.
Right.
So that was always my thought process when working with kids like that. It's always like I just want them to go out there and have the best time possible because if that happens, I mean, the audience is going to feel it and the audience is
Hmm.
going to have a good time too.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Uh, I mean, birds on film. Uh,
Birds on film.
I that's coming out. Not sure when the next episode will be released. We just released the Smokey and the Bandit episode,
Hmm.
and perhaps by the time this comes out, Smokey and the Bandit 2 and 3 will be out.
Ho 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 ho.
Yes, it would be very fun. Bird's got the edit on that, so it will be substantially better than anything anything I do.
Oh, you're being too modest.
Well, like I
You
would.
know, you're being too modest, and you're also being way too kind to Erica Lee.
That's
I'm
fair.
kind
That's
of
fair.
everyone's so nice to her, and I'm kind of sick of it.
Hey, look, I hitched my wagon to Bird. Okay. Well, like I love Birds on film. If I can talk about it for a second,
Mhm.
like I think what's interesting about it is there's a lot of content like that out there.
Mhm.
And a lot of it's good, you know, but to me what's different is the it really is Erica to me. I don't think anyone is out there in the space that we occupy
Mhm.
that has a mindset on film like Bird
Mm-hmm.
because she's just so batshit crazy with her opinions sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and the way she like formats her thought process, and like it's just so fun to record and to watch things with her and to pick
Mm-hmm.
her brain. It's truly different from any other person I could have probably done the show with.
Right.
I've tried it with like 8 other people, but those 8 other people think the same exact things that I do.
Right.
So when you have someone that challenges you, kind of like has just a
Right. So
completely
there's a
different spectrum.
contrast.
Exactly.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Hell yeah. So be on the lookout for Smokey and the Bandit 2 and 3 coming from Birds on Film. Anything you want to plug, bud? Other than Birds on Film? Any shows? Pizza
Birds on
Party will have already
Film.
happened by the time this drops.
Yes.
Which
The
means if
wedding.
you're listening to this, I beat Kennedy Copeland, I'm sure. In the name of pineapple on pizza.
Yes, positive. Positive. I was there for that.
I bet this
I
age as well.
I I will have killed Kid Magic with a gun.
With a gun.
Will shot him dead. I will check out the wedding, the me and Mary Beth's wedding at SWO. You can just look it up on YouTube.
What a beautiful wedding.
Yes. Check out any of the cinematic content that any of the fellows have done. Particularly like the Big Goddamn Cinemagic, any of the Big Goddamn Cinematics, Rob's Big Goddamn Cinematic, a fantastic episode.
I wore a do-rag,
Yes.
which
And
is the equivalent of a Confederate flag.
I've got a couple of things up my sleeve that I'm working on right now, and not sure when it will be out, but just be on the lookout.
Hell yeah. As for me, you can see me. You can definitely see me in the Tag Team Super 8 along with Big Dust. That is September 17th. I think I have a couple things between now and then, but I mean that's kind of a big one. So definitely check that out if you're in the Manville, New Jersey area. Is it Manville? The Jersey Dugout, wherever that's
Jersey
at.
Dugout.
You can check out me on Twitter at rockin_radkey. Also Instagram, but I'm not that active on Instagram. You can check out goonsmerch.teespring.com for all your latest Goon articles of clothing. We have some tumblers, some fanny packs. Yeah, check all that stuff out. And I guess stay rad, everybody.